Well, hello, boys and girls. It's when we feel like 8 o'clock. I'm Pearl Wisdom, and you're listening to my NHL and other things, Pearls of Wisdom. Well, I thought I'd go live because one of the finest in the land, Bobby Ryan, is getting bought out by the Ottawa Senators right now. Well, it's reported that he's being bought out by the Ottawa Senators. He had 2 years left on his contract at $7 million. So they're going to have to pay something like $2 or $2.5 million for the next 4 years to get rid of him. Now, for Ottawa to do something like that, that's huge because they don't like to spend money for nothing. I don't know exactly what their reasoning was for this, except I think this is my lean on this, is that Bobby Ryan wanted to go home. Bobby Ryan, of course, as you know, or maybe you don't know, had a substance abuse problem. Won the Masterton this year because he had the courage to go in and get some help and is back on the ground. Now, I hope this isn't because he fell off the wagon or something. I hope that's not what it is. God forbid that is the case. But if it's not the case, what I think is likely going to happen is for his career, probably for the benefit of him being able to be a better person and stay on the sober side of life, he may want to go home. He's from the Philadelphia area, and he could probably fit in there. If he's willing to play for $2 million or whatever they're willing to give him at this point, he could go home, and that would be an amazing thing. To be home would be probably a lot better for his sobriety. He's closer to people that can support him and has some safe places to go when he gets home and all of that sort of thing. So that would be great. I'm hoping we love you, Bobby Ryan. So glad that you here's something about Bobby Ryan. Even though he went through his issues or whatever the case may be, everybody loved Bobby. Everybody did. Brian Burke has talked about him when he had him in Anaheim and said that he was one of the finest people you're ever going to meet. He treats people with complete respect. He is above reproach, and that is an amazing thing to be when you're struggling with the way Bobby did. Bobby had I don't know if you know much about Bobby's life in his past, but it was very odd. Some abuse issues, ended up having to move to a different city and change his name and all kinds of stuff. So his name isn't actually Ryan. His last name is not Ryan. It's I can't remember what it is, but it's not Ryan. So good for him. Now, some other things that have come up in the last little while. Patrick Laine, and let me get out my cap friendly here while we talk. This is what I like about live. We can just kind of talk about things as it goes. Patrick Laine in Winnipeg. This has been a situation that's been brewing for quite some time. He was very dissatisfied with his last contract. Much like Trouba, he kind of gave an indication that he was played on lower lines and giving lower minutes to skew his numbers so that the next contract they'd be able to point to some stats and say, hey, you're only making this much and that's all we can afford to pay. And he's like, well, I was a top six guy. I was playing third line with like Lowry and stuff. And if I was playing higher in the lineup, which I should have been because I was a 30, 40 goal scorer. Hey, Lauren, how you doing? 30, 40 goal scorer, I wouldn't be in that situation. I wouldn't be getting that. We wouldn't be talking about this. So anyways, it put a bad taste in Laine's mouth, just like it did Trouba. And now it looks like he could very well be used as trade bait to get some defense for Winnipeg. Not that I think that they have to go that route, actually. I mean, if any team, Peter Angelo's out there, I don't know if he'd want to go to Winnipeg. It's hard for them to get free agents, so maybe that may be a little difficult to do. I did a video a little while ago saying that Lauren, if you have anything on this, let me know. Where would Laine go? I did a video a little while ago on this about him going to maybe the New York Rangers, because the New York Rangers have like all the prospects in the land, and they've got depth everywhere in their lineup. They could put a package together with some defensemen. Lindgren would be what I was asking for. But something came up to me today. Laine going to the Avs, you say? Lauren Darkin is here, and he says that Laine going to the Avs. Well, we can explore that, Lauren. Where if Laine were to go to the Avs, who do you think is going to get? They're going to get back. Like, I'm going to look at my cap friendly here. I can switch, but then I can't see anybody. So, like, if I try to switch to my on my laptop, I can't see anybody. So we don't want that. We want to make sure we're seeing everybody. Got to see everybody in the land while we're talking. So let's say that does make some sense. Laine going to Colorado for sure, because Colorado has a crap load of cap space. They do have some defensemen that they could waft under their nose, you know? So let's go Colorado Avalanche. Here we go. I got my trusty phone here. Colorado Avalanche. Okay, first of all, they got cap space coming out of their yin yang. What kind of package could they put together for Laine? There's the Winnipeg for sure. They're going to need a third line center. Brian Little's career looks like it's over. Right now, I believe that if they were to start the season, they would have like Cop as their second line center. Really don't want that. They want a second line or third line center. So the first thing that they would be looking at off of Colorado's roster would probably be JT Compher. That's a tough pill to swallow for Colorado because they really love JT Compher. They probably would be saying, here, I got a Yost for you. I got a Yost. And they'll be like, no, Compher. And I would be too. If I had a Laine piece that I was looking to trade, Yost looks like, I don't know, his offense is questionable. Compher looks like he could be a 40, 50-point regular scorer, play even possibly against other teams' top lines. Now, of course, we know with Winnipeg, Bufflin being what happened last year with losing Trouba to the Rangers. Now, they did get Pionk back, but ideally, Pionk shouldn't be in a 1-2 spot. Then they also have Morrissey, which is fantastic. That's great. Ville Heinenen's coming up. But they're playing guys like Tucker Poolman and stuff in spots where they just aren't supposed to be there. They did fantastic last year. And kudos to the NHL for giving Hellebuyck the Vezina. Because if he didn't get it, I mean, the fact that Tortorella didn't get the Adams, they don't even get me into that. But if he didn't get it, you might as well stop giving awards out. That guy had incredible numbers when you consider the defense. They were playing Kulikov in their top four. Kulikov wasn't able to make Buffalo's top four, and Buffalo did not have the strong defense to begin with either, but they're playing him in their top four. So this is a reason also why Paul Maurice's name came up as Coach of the Year. If they wouldn't have had Hellebuyck, he probably would have had a better chance. So look, how about Connor Timmons? Now, Connor Timmons is a right-handed defenseman. They played him in the playoffs this year, and he looked pretty darn good. They may not want to go that route because of all of what I just mentioned. One thing they could be looking at is Bowen Byram and JT Compher. And then you've got Bowen Byram, JT Compher in their first-round pick this year. That would probably be more than they should need to give for Laine. But that would definitely do it. And then you've got a second line of Kadri. This is off the top of my head, but I'm going to look here. You'd have a first line, of course, the greatest one and maybe the best first line in the land. Burakovsky, who has to be re-signed, Kadri, and Joonas Donskoi, who also could be in this package. Now, the thing is, so you would have Laine playing with Kadri and Burakovsky. Then, of course, Comfer would no longer be there anymore, and you would be looking to fill that third line center role. That's the difficult thing with this, is if they made that trade, who are they going? They would have to go out and get themselves a third line center now, which isn't too difficult to do. Probably could find one on the free agent market to fill that role. But my gosh, what a top six. Kadri, Laine, and who did I say was going to be on the left side? Oh, yeah, Burakovsky, if they re-sign him, which I imagine in this case they would. That would be crazy. You could also maybe change up that top line and throw Kadri in there and put Laine on the top line and Rantanen with Kadri or whatever it is, that top six. Thanks, Lauren, for bringing that up. That would be freaking amazing. So Connor Timmons, JT Compher, and a first-round draft pick for Laine, and maybe something else going back out of Winnipeg. Complete finish line? Oh, yeah. But nobody, who would be the center in that line? You're talking about Landeskog, Rantanen, and Laine. I don't know who the center would be in that situation. But I was thinking possibly as well. Another thing that we could do is we could go with the Dallas Stars. It just came to me this morning. The Dallas Stars, if you definitely could use some offense in that top six. And they've got a 3-pack of defensemen that, although it's fantastic, probably a luxury that is not well afforded in the NHL today. Where is Dallas? Dallas, yeah, Columbus, Carolina, Chicago, Philadelphia. Dallas Stars. Let's bring up the Dallas Stars here. So the Dallas Stars would have then Radulov, they'd be able to keep that Ben, Sagan, and Pavelski line together. Sagan, Jamie Benn, and Radulov. And then they could have Laine, Pavelski, or Ropo Hintz, and Dennis Garyanov. Whoa, that would be something too. Now, of course, you have to give somebody up. So my thinking here is Klingberg, although he did have a fantastic playoffs, he's going to be a free agent in 2 years and probably demand a lot more money. You're not giving up Lindell, and you're certainly not giving up Miro Heiskanen, whom you're going to have to pay in 1 more year. So you could look at throwing out John Klingberg up there. And for a center, that would be the difficult part, because maybe Radek Faksa and John Klingberg to the Winnipeg Jets for Lion. You could fill in a couple things in here. What do you think of that? I think Colorado's package certainly would be more palatable for most more palatable if they're wanting to go that direction. The thing about Colorado is, first of all, they're not big on trading first-round picks a lot. The value for the Colorado first-round pick is going to be very, very high. If they're already throwing out Compher, who they're extremely high on, and who else did I say? Yeah. Not sure on that Dallas package. Oh, as far as the defenseman is concerned. The thing is they're probably going to be getting Hamonic. Almost for sure. They're going to get Hamonic from Calgary, because when Hamonic first left the Islanders, asked to leave the Islanders, he requested that he go back home, which is in Manitoba. And the reason why is some sort of family thing going on there, sickness, or family sickness or something like that of her wife's father or something like of that nature. They're probably going to pick him up on a hometown discount. So if you had Hamonic there, but I think Hamonic might be a righty. And if that's the case, that could be a little bit difficult. I suppose if I'm going to do this, I better look up Winnipeg. Winnipeg Jets. Okay, so the Winnipeg Jets then. There's also been talk about Nikolai Ehlers being traded. I don't see that at all. They absolutely love him. He's on a cap-friendly contract. Nikolai Ehlers loves living in Winnipeg, and they have a hard time finding people that want to be there. So Bobby Ryan is going to get bought out. I started this. Laine could be traded, and that's what we're talking about today, some places that we may go. Lauren brought up Colorado. Now, I think that is a heck of an idea and something that Colorado would seriously consider. My gosh, like I said, their top six would be insane. I like Connor Timmons a lot, and I know they do a lot, but they also have some other defensemen coming up as well, in a pretty solid defense as it is. They could also look at possibly Zadorov. If you're looking at a guy that's more on the defensive end of things, you could put Zadorov in there. Now, if Zadorov was going to be in there, of course, you'd be looking at more. JT Compher would be a for sure. And then you'd probably be looking at the first for sure. Absolutely for sure. I don't know if I completely like that package unless there's a person in that first round that you're extremely bullish on. I'm going to want something with a little more meat to it than that. Maybe another prospect yet on top of it. Maybe not, obviously not Timmons, but somebody else on top of it, another draft pick as well. Maybe Burakovsky, because they could use like a pure scorer. Again, if you're going to lose Laine, having a pure scorer like Burakovsky could be a decent enough replacement. So that would be interesting. I said Dallas Stars. Also, the talk was that it would possibly be Columbus, but I will continue on with Bobby Ryan. Now, I mentioned this when I started this off with Bobby Ryan. I said that the likelihood, I think, to him, if he's going to continue playing, and I think that's likely going to be the case, that he's looking to go home, and Philadelphia would be the place for that. Philadelphia could use a few more goal scorers in there. How much is Bobby Ryan going to have left now? I don't think you're going to get this. I think you're going to have to give up way more than that to Zingle and Nino. It's going to take way more than that to get Laine out of I like to consider it basically that the Rangers are probably going to be the ringleaders in this trade. They may not get him, but they will drive up the price, especially if they think he's coming to the East. Now, people quite often don't realize that teams will quite often put in offers, even if they're not really bullish on the player itself. They will just drive up the price so that whoever is going to take them is going to pay a premium for that player. So Nino Niederreiter has been fairly inconsistent his whole career. In the Island, when he played for the Islanders, he left. When he left, there was consistency issues, and he wanted to play higher in the lineup, but they said that you have to become more consistent. Niederreiter said, well, how can I become more consistent if you don't play me? And there was a falling out there. Went to Minnesota. He did get played. Inconsistency problems as well. Fenton came in as a general manager in Minnesota, saw these inconsistency issues and went, okay, we're not having this. And I don't know what it is about Niederreiter, but usually when a guy gets traded his young from 3 organizations like this, there is problems in the room or something of that nature, attitude issues, blah, 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 blah. It could be many things. So now he goes to Carolina, and as you're saying, Lauren, there's consistency issues there. So if I'm going to pony up a Laine out there to the land, and you're coming with inconsistent Niederreiter and a Dzingel who probably has been had a good offensive outburst in Ottawa, went to Columbus, didn't do too bad, and then went to Carolina and became what looks like a third line center, and a small one at that. So you can put a package together, but that ain't going to do it. I'm going to need somebody with a lot more meat to them than those two. That's for sure. You'll have to add in a very good defenseman. The first thing I'm going to be looking for is I keep on hearing still talk again about Hamilton being out there. I'll give you a Laine for Hamilton. You want to do that? I'm sure you don't, but throw me another package there, Lauren. Who else would you think that you could give up? The good thing about Winnipeg is they can take money back. So they've got a lot of leverage here in who they trade them to, because in a cap world, taking money back is huge. Your team, Evan, the Washington Capitals, heck, could make a play here because, again, they could put Jacob Vrana, Eller, and I don't know who they would give as a defenseman. That would be the problem with Washington. Is they're pretty weak on the defensive side of things as it is. That would probably be their out of the picture there in Washington. I still don't think that's going to do it. You got to think of players, Honka, Dzingel, and Foegele. I mean, I like Foegele, don't get me wrong, but he's a third-line winger. Yeah, we will definitely do a pod. I just thought I would go live and have fun and see what happens here in the middle of the day. By the way, yeah, Eller would be a good one. As you know, would fill in their third line spot, not bad. Oh, are you talking about Honka is going to be a very good defenseman? Yeah, I mean, it depends how much they like that prospect, I suppose. I got to say I'm not as well versed on that prospect as I would think. I think you're going to have to put more of a blue chip prospect out there than that, and I think I know who I'm talking about. A guy you really don't want to give up. That I think is probably the prospect that they're going to be looking at. I don't even think Hayden Fleury is going to do it. Not without giving a really good center up on top of it. Like, we're talking about a second line center, and you know who that would be too. So, yeah. Oh, really? Sweet, buddy. 97 plays. Nice. You're getting up there, buddy. So yeah, that's the way you get started. I haven't. Brady Shea would be a good one. Don't know enough about Mateos to be able to say that I would make that trade, but Brady Shea would be a good start there. Dzingel, I don't know how much that's going to, like, think about the trade you already said with Colorado, okay? JT Compher, I'll take Compher over Dzingel all day. Timmons is a younger version of Shea, and so is probably a younger version of Brady Shea. And who else did we say on there? Possibly Burakovsky. Your first this year you start talking your first this year, and then Winnipeg's ears might peak up a little bit. First year this year, and Brady Shea. Brady Shea is not much of an account to you because it's possible you could lose Brady in an expansion draft, the way your defense is set up, Carolina's defense is set up right now. So it doesn't mean much to you, but it is fairly valuable to Winnipeg. So I do like that. I do like that for sure. Yeah. Well, then, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of things that Carolina may say, I'm not giving that up. I'm not giving that up. And if you look at the Colorado package or the New York Rangers package, if they want Laine, I believe they would get it. I don't think anybody can compete with the New York Rangers for that. The only reason why Carolina or Columbus or Dallas or Colorado would be in this would because the Rangers don't want him. Because the Rangers package could be absolutely like crazy. They've got another first that they can give. They don't really need another first. They have Heidel, who is huge, and they wouldn't really want to, but they also have Strome that they could offer up. They have on the wing, they've got Kako maybe. I mean, that would probably do it right there. They've got a ton there in New York to offer up. So first of all, the only reason why any team is in there is because the Rangers decide that they want to stick with what they have and they don't want to throw a whole bunch of money at Laine, who, by the way, has had scuttlebutt that he's on the lazy side and maybe a little bit on the complainy side. There's been stuff that came up when he was in Finland. He was doing some stuff with doing some interviews with some Finnish interviewers, whatever, reporters, and he was talking about it when this is the reason why it came up, where he thought he wasn't being played with the best players on the team, and that was hurting his performance. And I actually would have to agree with him. They were playing him lower in the lineup. Now, they're going on the sense that he's a younger player and he's got to earn his ice time. I got you. Okay, you got to earn your ice time, whatever the case may be. But that should not factor into your contract. When you come up, you can't say, oh, look at your numbers. They match up with this person and that person, because the fact of the matter is he was playing lower in the lineup and he was still scoring 30 goals. So as far as I'm concerned, they pinched him into that contract. He didn't have leverage. If for a player, that feels like it's not really in the best faith. Not to mention, you're in Winnipeg. There's a little bit. I'm sorry, but it's a smaller town. It's cold as hell. It's not where most players would want to spend their whole career. So pissing a guy like that off is probably not a good idea, unless, in fact, of course, that they did see this kind of laziness. When he plays, he looks like he's one of those players that looks like he's not trying all that much when he plays. Fantastic skill, but maybe his determination isn't up there with some of the other guys in the league. And that certainly is a factor. So this is the player you're getting. But that being said, you put him on a top line. Like you put him with Aho in Carolina, he's probably going to score 40. How many 40-goal scorers are there in the league? Not too many. So I do like Brady Shea. I think he's still got to up the package as far as Dzingel is concerned. But Brady Shea as a starting point just might at least keep them in the conversation anyways. Your first would definitely keep them in the conversation. What I always want to call him Beach, but it's not Beach. What's that defenseman in Carolina that should be ready right now? Prospect that I know that you don't want to spew out his name in this package, but I think his name would have to be in there. And I know they're using it for Askarov, so there's if in fact Askarov is there, that's the thing. What if Askarov's not there? I could see New Jersey taking Askarov. I could see, I would highly recommend Buffalo take Askarov if they're going to keep the pick. Talking about that, I've been saying in the draft that Well, not I've been saying. Up until now, Detroit has been talking Perfetti. But I just read today that they are really big on Rossi. In fact, their focus has moved over to Rossi. Part of that reason is Perfetti has been doing some talking in the media that hasn't shined a very good light on him. They just had a media talk with where they asked him, like, what team would you like to go to, which they ask all the prospects. Smart prospects say it doesn't matter, I'm just happy to be in the NHL, blah 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 blah. More interesting prospects like Perfetti say things like, well, I don't think it would be good for me to go to a team that likes to dump and chase because it wouldn't get the best out of my skill set. Well, that's not something that people, general managers in the league, like to hear. And this is not the first time Perfetti has come up with some comments that talk about some forms of immaturity. So knowing Stevie Yzerman, hearing this stuff is not something that he really enjoys. He looks for character when he picks. And if he is looking for a character, Rossi would certainly be there. So that changes things up a little bit if they pick Rossi there. The Blue Jackets was where I was going to get into next. However, I'm not sure the Blue Jackets could really put up a significant. Rossi has been compared to Point in Tampa, so you can imagine how that would. I mean, yeah, and knowing Yzerman, who was a general manager in Tampa Bay, if he sees Point in Rossi, he's probably going to be salivating over that pick to pick Rossi there. I've also heard, though, that the Ottawa Senators really love Rossi. Now, that being said, if that's the case, look at it this way. Look at this, Laine. Maybe Detroit has been putting this Rossi thing up there because Ottawa wants to pick him in 5th. So he's putting it out there to see if Ottawa will flip picks and give him an extra second or something like that. And then Detroit would go back to their Perfetti pick. They'll stick with Perfetti because Perfetti's from the area. And they certainly don't have to worry about a dump and chase system in Detroit. That is definitely far from the way they play. They play a very European-style game there. Now, Laine to the Blue Jackets. I've heard that very same rumor, my friend. Laine to the Blue Jackets, that they are going to be very interested. It makes perfect sense. They lost, what's his name, to the New York Rangers. I don't want to look it up. Please remind me for some reason. Panarin. They lost Panarin to the New York Rangers. The playoffs really showed that, yes, Panarin. Their playoffs really showed that getting offense has got to be high on their list this year. Now, the problem with the Columbus Blue Jackets, of course, is amazingly, they are actually not in a very good cap spot. They have a lot of players making a lot of money. Now, Dubinsky is probably going to go on the IR, so that's going to give them a fair amount. The question is, what exactly – they can offer like Boone Jenner maybe, but then they are pretty thin up the middle. That being said, they could – Alexander Tessier is probably going to play in their top 6 next year. So they have Tessier to play. So they could offer up Boone Jenner, which he's 28 years old and he's making about 5.5. He can play in your top 6. It's not ideal, but he does play a solid two-way game. He does play a good playoff type game. Not bad. But you're definitely going to need to give up a defenseman. So who's Columbus going to give up for a defenseman? That is where I think the problem starts to fall apart for Columbus. They're certainly not giving up Werenski, and they're certainly not giving up Jones. It would have to be somebody like Savard. So there's one. Savard's making 4.2, but only for one more year. And then he's an unrestricted free agent. Andrew Peak might be of some value, but he's been a slow grow. The guy I would definitely want out of Columbus if they were going to come knocking on my door, especially if they're only willing to go with Boone Jenner and not a Tessier uh, or somebody like that. I'm not taking Wenberg off of them. Nice try, buddy. I know that's going to be on their name, but there's no way I'm touching that. See you later, Lauren. Thanks for coming in and chatting. I would say Greg Gavrikov for sure would be top of my list. And they don't have a first this year, so that's not an option. But I'd want Gavrikov for sure. And then you're looking at Boone Jenner, and if you look at some of the conversations we've just had, or some of the offers that we put out there, it doesn't look like Columbus has the pieces to put together to get a Laine, although I'm sure they would really love to have him. But I just don't see them having the pieces compared to unless there's like all the other teams opt out for some reason. And New Jersey does have, oh shit, I didn't see that. Lauren's gone. New Jersey does have Blackwood, but you're talking about a guy. I don't think Blackwood's ever going to be Askarov. Cool. I'm glad you do love my live chats. I'm really enjoying doing them. I'm going to try to do this a little more. I'm going to do these kind of as my videos and then edit it to a certain place where you can watch it as a quick stream and whatever. So I know in the middle of the day, how am I going to get a lot of people to come on here? But maybe if people see it happening over and over again, you could, maybe more people will come on. And you're working right now, so you're probably going to have to head out too. But that was really what I wanted to converse about today. And I've been going on for about a half an hour. So yeah. Been going on for about a half an hour, so that's probably long enough for this video. But I thought I would come on here, and if I got lots of people, I would just keep on going with it. But since it isn't, but Evan, as far as a podcast is concerned, yeah, just let me know how I can do that with you, and I'd be definitely willing to do it with you. No doubt about it, for sure. That would be a lot of fun, man. I'm starting to get into more NFL now too, actually. I'm going to be doing NFL lives and all that kind of stuff like that. I also told you about that website that's coming up in May. In the future, have some interest to you. You can take a team, and that can be your team, and you can be sweet, awesome. I think I'm going to finish her off here, bud. Thanks for coming on, and I'll try this again possibly on Monday, maybe during the week I'll try to do it, but I think I'm going to finish it off, and thanks for coming in, having a little chat. Have a great day, buddy. Take care. Oh, by the way, everybody subscribe right now. Subscribe right now. And like, and don't like if you want. Don't links are fine. Bye.